The Raiders have released their first unofficial depth chart. Geno Smith confident in the Raiders this year, and Pete Carroll addresses the media. Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Small Raider back at it again with yet another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love Raiders content, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. First things first, let's talk about the first unofficial depth chart right before the Seattle Seahawks game. Now, there's some things that really stood out to me on this depth chart. Of course, we know that Geno Smith's going to start. We know that Ashton Jeanty's going to start. We know a lot of things. You know, Max Crosby's going to be a starter and whatnot. But here are some things that really stood out to me. First one being seeing Jordan Meredith officially start at center and JPJ starting at right guard. Now, we talked about this yesterday. It seems like Jordan Meredith came in and showed out, and I guess he gets to be the starting center. I don't think it takes anything away from JPJ, but it just proves that no matter where you put JPJ, we're going to expect a lot of great things. And I mean, he came over here as a guard, so we could expect a lot of things from him going into this game. I do feel real confident in this offensive line more than past years, you know, having Colton Miller, especially over here on an extension. We still got Dylan Parham, we got Jordan Meredith, we got JBJ, and then we got DJ Glaze starting on the offensive line. That's how things are going to be for now, unless something crazy happens or the offensive line just looks horrible out there. Now, another thing that really stood out to me was seeing Dante Thornton Jr. starting over Jack Bech. Now, we all been hearing great things about Dante Thornton. I mean, we've heard Geno Smith talk great things about him. We heard Chip Kelly talk great things about him, Max Crosby, so on and so forth. But to see him finally get put above Jack Bech, who got drafted before him, just goes to show that they really do see him as a viable wide receiver on this team and somebody that could definitely stand out and break out this year, which I'm really hoping for. Now, another player that stood out was seeing Zamir White being the RB2. Now, we haven't heard a lot of great things about Zamir White. I mean, we haven't even heard anything at all about him, let alone the rest of the running back group. Now, running back that did stand out to me when I was at training camp and seeing clips here and there was Raheem Mostert. Who knows if he's gonna move his way up into that RB2 spot, but as far as right now, I guess Zamir White is that guy. But I do feel like if Zamir White doesn't really go out there and show out, I could see him as a candidate that could get cut or possibly even traded away. Now, looking at the defensive tackle position, of course, we don't have Christian Wilkins over here, but I'm surprised to see that Tyree Wilson's not gonna be starting at defensive tackle. He's still lauded as a defensive end, so I can understand that point. But it's good to see Jonah Laulu alongside of Adam Butler starting on the defensive line with Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby on the outside. Now, another rookie that's going to be starting on the defensive side is Darian Porter. We've heard a lot of praise from Darian Porter from reporters, from Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll has come out and said that he is not afraid to start rookies. And so far, looking at the roster right now, we got a couple of rookies starting, which says a lot about Pete Carroll and what he sees in his players. But I'm really excited to see what Darian Porter can do in a starting role. I talked about him a lot yesterday, but he's going to be starting alongside of Darnay Holmes and Eric Stokes. And last but not least, who stands out on the depth chart is seeing Ashton Jeanty as a second punt return. You know, he's going to be the franchise guy. We drafted him really high at number 6, but to see that the Raiders have him returning punts, we seen him at training camp returning it, but to see him on the depth chart is really interesting. And it's going to be real interesting if the Raiders do utilize them out there in preseason, especially against the Seattle Seahawks in the very first game. So that's something I'm going to look out for, as well as everything else on this roster. Now, with that said, Raider Nation, what do you guys think about the first unofficial depth chart that just dropped yesterday? What questions do you guys have? What stands out to you guys? And what are you guys looking forward to watching in this first preseason game when it comes to one of these players? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, let's talk about our quarterback, Geno Smith. We know that he's coming over here to be the leader, to be the QB1, to be the guy that's going to be commanding the offense. And with his experience and seeing what he did in Seattle with Pete Carroll, I can only imagine what he can do with this team and this offense. Now, we've got to see a little bit of Geno Smith with this offense during the mock game and even at training camps, and he's looked real good. Of course, he's thrown a couple of interceptions here and there, but I feel like, hey, as long as you get your interceptions out during practice, that's all that matters. Now, Geno Smith, let's see how he looks when he goes up against his former team, and let's see him in real time. Now, when he was on the NFL Network and was asked about how confident he is in his team, he basically said that let everybody sleep. We love being the underdogs over here, and I agree with him on that.
Does this team feel like a team that can compete? Like how close are they to getting where they want to go? You know, I'm always the guy who, like, I believe that the game gets settled between the white lines on game day. But, you know, from my vantage point, we got a really, really good team. And I think we're going to, I don't know if we'll shock anyone inside of this building, but maybe shock some outsiders. And so, you know, but it's good. Like, let them sleep. I don't want them to see us coming, man. We're just working. We're just working, you know, in the shadows right now, you know, getting our game right. And when it's time to go under those bright lights, I think we'll be ready.
That said, we got to hear from Pete Carroll today. And the whole reason why I'm talking about Geno Smith playing against the Seattle Seahawks is because Pete Carroll basically said that we will be seeing our starters this Thursday.
Do you think you'll play your full set of starters on Thursday?
Everybody's alive. Everybody's ready to go.
Now, that makes me excited because usually when preseason does come around, we don't really get to see our starters at all. Josh McDaniels never started any of his starters other than when he started Josh Jacobs in the Hall of Fame game, which was stupid. But anywho, I don't know how long we're going to see our offensive starters out there and defensive starters, but at least we'll see them out there for one drive. And like I said, I'm really excited because we finally get to see all the work get put in front of us and shown to the millions and millions of Raider fans watching at home. And hopefully the hype is still there. Now, I know it's just preseason, but we get to see a lot of answers to some of the questions that we've had throughout the whole offseason. Now, Pete Carroll was asked about the whole Jacory and Bennett situation and even bringing in Thomas Booker. And he basically said that he is confident with the group that we have right now. And he's excited to see what Thomas Booker can bring to this team. Heck, he looks at him as a solid rotational piece and looks at a guy that he sees a high ceiling in. Like I said yesterday, still a young player, 25 years old, didn't really get utilized a lot with the Eagles defense because they have so many great defensive tackles over there. And from all the comments that I've been seeing from the Eagle fans, it seems like we got a solid dude on us right now.
Yeah, we like our group. We feel confident in the group, and so that we were able to get another guy that we need on the other side and up front. And so we're really glad to get Thomas and wish JB the best.
What is it about Thomas that you guys like?
His motor. He plays really hard. He's really consistent in his effort. He's big enough and flexible enough to play a number of spots for us. He looks really good in the rotations. That's a heck of a defensive lineman room there that keeps him from playing and getting his numbers up. But we see a lot of positives. We've known him over the years and as he's come up, and so we're really looking forward to what he can do for us.
Now, to add on to all of that, Pete Carroll addressed the Lonnie Johnson injury and basically gave us a little timetable of how long we can expect Lonnie Johnson to be out.
Yeah, his surgery's coming up. We really miss Lonnie. This was, I think we recognize Lonnie in a way that he hasn't been recognized in the earlier parts of his career, with great respect for the variety of things that he adds to the team and all. And we're really going to miss him. We had a number of things that we had, especially that he could do well in contributing to the defense, and so we have to work a little bit to figure out how other guys can take those kinds of concepts and make them work for us. Lonnie's in good spirits. He knows that it's a chance that it's a minimal amount of time to get back. These 5 weeks here are hugely important to him, so he can get back within 3 or 4 weeks into the season, 4 or 5 weeks into the season, or whatever it is, and we'll really enjoy when he gets the chance to come back.
Now, hopefully we could see Lonnie Johnson within those 3 to 4 weeks because he just seems like a guy that has a chip on his shoulder, and who knows if he could be a solid contributor on the defensive side, especially in the secondary that we really do need help in. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery and wish nothing but the best for him. Now, speaking of the Raiders going to play Seattle Seahawks, of course, we got a lot of former Seahawks on the team right now, and Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, and even Jamal Adams. And according to some reports out there, Vegas Sports Today, it seems like the Seattle Seahawks will have a tribute for these guys. That said, Pete Carroll was asked about this, and I guess he didn't know anything about this.
I loved my time in Seattle and loved the fans and the people that we met and dealt with and competed with. But it's a game for us. We can go play ball. I have not heard anything about what you just talked about. I don't know what you're talking about tributes or whatever.
Last but not least, though, interesting news that came out of training camp today. Shout out to Jesse Merrick for this clip. We got to see Lecky Fotu out there, and he was in a walking boot. Now, mind you, I was over there at the mock game, and Lecky Fotu was on the sidelines. He didn't really go out there and participate in the game at all. He just had tennis shoes out there, but I just don't know what's going on with all these defensive linemen and walking boot. I mean, the last one that we had, let's just say things didn't turn out well for him, but I'm hoping nothing but the best for the Toko out there, and hopefully he gets back to the field. And maybe this is one reason why the Raiders really wanted to go and add more depth to the defensive line, especially in the defensive tackle room. But what does that say for other guys like JJ Pegues or Tonka Hemingway, 2 guys that you drafted that might not get too much playing time? Who knows? On another note, though, speaking of the secondary, according to Aaron Wilson, the Raiders have held a workout with former Steelers safety Terrell Edmunds today. The team also worked out cornerback Mekhi Garner and cornerback BJ Mays. Edmunds would be an interesting signing for the Raiders, especially in the secondary. And like I said earlier, Lonnie Johnson will miss a couple of weeks. So I do understand the Raiders trying to go out there and look around and possibly find a replacement for him. But my big question is, why hasn't the Raiders even contacted Justin Simmons yet? That aside, though, I do believe that Terrell Edmunds would be a solid addition to the secondary. But Raider Nation, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. We are just a couple of days away from our very first game, and I'm really excited. That being said, until the next video, this your boy Some More Raider and your boys. Yeah.